Hey world, this is Christina Coleman. I am a business administration major at Morgan State University, and I am excited to learn and have this conversation about blockchain and crypto because it is the future. It's coming, and I see myself being on the forefront and a part of that change, and even being able to teach and educate as I learn more. So I'm excited to be here at Reimagine 2.0.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Reimagine 2020, the Happy Hodl Day edition. This is our fifth event within the Reimagine series of conferences. We are closing out the year strong with our last event here in 2020, and we hope that obviously 2021 is nothing like this past year, except for this Bitcoin bull run that's been going on for the last few weeks. We hope that you'll be enjoying this. I'll be your host today, Adam from the MouseBelt team. If you missed out on any of our past four events, feel free to visit the Reimagine 2020 website at ri2020.io for full access to over 150 interviews from some of your favorite projects and individuals in the space. Our mission is pretty simple. It's to continue to understand how blockchain is making an impact and how do we do that? We invite the top projects and leaders in the industry, top universities, students, their clubs and organizations to shed light and to help us understand like blockchain's real impact and innovation, advancements towards Web 3.0 and the decentralized infrastructure of our future. So without further ado, I have Christina Coleman here from Morgan State. They are part of our university program. Christina, how you doing today?
I'm blessed to be here. I'm grateful, and just trying to see the light in all of what appears to be darkness sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And how was your holiday this past week during Thanksgiving?
Well, as me and my family like to celebrate Happy Indigenous People Day, and we celebrated our daughter's very first birth Earth Day, and so just super happy to see her and be able to see her grow.
Nice. So glad you got to spend some time there with family. Seems like everybody tried to do their best, during this crazy year, wild ride. So it's come to my understanding, though, it seems like at Morgan State, I know you were part of this most recent Binance trading competition, which we'll get into shortly, but you're actually not in the blockchain crypto scene quite yet. Tell me a little bit about your background, what you're studying, and how that's been going so far.
Yeah, so it's actually my return to Morgan. I had left back in 2016 to work in the real estate field in DC. And after having my daughter, it was like, I want to be a better example and finish what I start. So I came back to school, and it's been beautiful because Morgan has so many opportunities for students. And one of the first emails I got returning to school was this Binance.us crypto challenge. And so I'd been reading up and invested in some Bitcoin back in 2018, literally invested when it was at its peak in December, which you live and you learn. But since then I've been dollar cost averaging for our personal portfolio. So it's been cool to just watch and read and start to see the shift of the institutional investors and leaders, and see that they're starting to lean more towards, okay, increase your portfolio 1 to 5% now. And it's just cool to know the even inception of crypto and Bitcoin was to essentially give people like me and you a way to exchange without having to have a middleman.
And so a lot to unpack there. Like you said it all, right? Tell me a little bit about when you first came across Bitcoin, or how did you even hear about it?
To be honest, I think it was definitely the hype. I couldn't pinpoint, but it was definitely just the hype because it was on such a, it may have even been talked about on the radio and things like that. It was such a bull run during like December 2017, I believe, 2018.
Yeah, you're right.
It was everywhere.
Yeah. And how about like your friends and like colleagues? Were you the only one? What was kind of the sentiment in general? Like obviously you caught wind of this. And a couple things. One, tell me about like were your friends involved? Were you the only one? Were you the champion trying to talk about it and pumping everybody up, or who were you resorting to or collaborating with on like understanding Bitcoin and buying it?
Sure. So my now husband, we talked about it. We brought some together, and my brother Chris, he's in the tech world, and he literally, like my parents were saying recently. My brother Chris, he's a little bit older than me. he was talking about Bitcoin when he was like 12 or 13. And he said it was like, I don't know if it was ever a nickel. This is what my parents said, but pretty much when it was at its inception. And so my brother Chris, we talk about investments and things like this, and strategize.
In and a little bit about your background, like you're using like kind of, portfolio allocation and stuff like that. What is your background? Like, what are you studying? And has that helped you understand Bitcoin better?
Um, yes, a little bit. I'm studying business administration, and I have spent just as much time in school as working in the real estate field. I was working as an office manager at like 21, like managing like a multi-million dollar portfolio. I look back now, like I really didn't really fully grasp what I was really doing, but I was doing it. And so I've always had a love for numbers and finance and systems. And I mean, who wants to be, for me, I'm still in my mid 20s. I don't want to be 50 or even 40 for that matter, still working. So it's like, if this is a viable, unless it's obviously doing what I really love and stuff like that, like that's different. But like, I don't want to have to work because I have to for money. So it's like, this could be one of those alternative investments. Invest now, time pays off for you. So that's I see it.
No, that's interesting. And you bring up some like critical points, like trying to be ahead of the curve and like understanding what else is out there as far as an alternative investment. Obviously, you come from more of a traditional, myself too. Like I come from banking. You come from traditional like real estate investments and stuff like that. And this is just a whole new spectrum. And it seems like you got in, or your brother did, and helped you kind of, relay some of that message. Now, what was your take on Bitcoin in terms of, was it like, is it a money to you? Is it also the underlying technology of blockchain that you like? How do you differentiate, or, what interests you about Bitcoin or blockchain?
Well, listen, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. My people in America, we don't have the best history, okay? And a lot of the wealth that's been created now through these giant corporations, through these banking families, was created off the back of my ancestors. So, like, I'm not going to sugarcoat that. So for me, this is a way to put power back into the hands of people and to put value back into the hands of people, that we don't need to go through third parties. So one, that's like, you know that's awesome, I believe. I think the flip side of that is, and listen, I'm showing you my real self. There's also a cynical part where it's like, well, is this just a way to get everybody on the same page, and then bankers come in and try to take over anyway, which I've been reading, and the Federal Reserve. So yeah, it's just one of those things where it's just like, it's going to take the world by storm, and I'd rather know, even if it's a little bit about it, than just be by the wayside.
Exactly. So it's an opportunity, right? I think for all of us to have our self-sovereign kind of ownership in our own, you know, type of currency, as opposed to, always obviously counting on the dollar. But Bitcoin gives us opportunities to own our own stuff, take control back, and like kind of really rise up, right?
Sure. And the fact that, like, this world is so, it's like a universe. It's like constantly growing, it's constantly expanding. And so it's like you can literally have a product and a service, and create your own blockchain for people to use and exchange with you. And I think that's really dope.
Exactly. And so what's your take over the last, I guess, couple years? So you caught wind of it at the hype, which we all did. That's when we kicked off our newest venture
Mhm.
around that time, and we were kind of like, all right, lot of at the time the narrative was, scams and fraud, like on the technology part, and not delivering product and code, and our thought was like, there's something here.
Sure.
And so we decided to, invest in it, knowing that we were so early on, that all this risk, and, not sure of the direction, and kind of the infrastructure of blockchain had, was just forming. Although blockchain in general, the components, to blockchain, cryptography, and like distributed systems, has been around, for decades. So what has been your experience, I guess, from then until now? And 2017 was the hype. It like completely tanked. What were you going through? What kind of emotions? Like, were you just still intrigued and were like, you know what, I'm going to stick with, obviously you did, I'm going to stick with this. And here we are in 2020, right? So it was up and down and all around. And now we're having this crazy bull run, and we'll get into the trading competition after, like your experience there. But what's been going through your mind over the last 3 years?
Sure. I mean, literally, it wasn't until this year that I picked up um and reinvesting in Bitcoin, and it more so just came from, like, over the past 2 years. I would check my Coinbase and things like that, but I had other things going on, so I wasn't actively looking at it. But for me, and just even in the past, like, since I've really been trading, I've more so looked at stocks. Like, I've done stock option trading and things like that. But now it's like, okay, that banking world is finicky right now. So like, what can I invest in? And I just started like reinvesting in Bitcoin and just reading up on Bitcoin and crypto, and looking at the other blockchain technologies that came out, and even just looking at and tracking every day, just being able to actually see those movements. Like, I remember just a couple weeks ago, it was 13,000. Now it's between like 19 to 17,000 these past couple of days. So it's just even cool just to visually be a part of
Yeah, yeah.
seeing that trajectory, especially the projections over the next couple of years. So it's just cool to even like visually be a part of that, and know that the shifts are happening. I'm like watching it happen and being a part of it happen.
I feel the same way. It's like you've been through it, you've seen it. Your brother was in super early, or at least understanding it, right? And like you said, it was pennies and nickels. And I remember in 2013 when I came across Bitcoin, it was a couple $100, I think, at that point. I mean, I was at the bank, and one of my clients was like buying Bitcoin at $100,000 worth, and I was like, "What are you buying? Like, is this safe?" And trying to understand it then. But the price run up, do you think that's like, is that good or bad? Like, going from, just in general, is it good that the price is where it is? Whether it's 2018, 15, like, does it really matter because you could buy like in fractions? Or how does that look, you think, to all of our friends and that are like, oh, Bitcoin's too high, or I missed the boat? Like, what do you say to the people that you're kind of educating in your circle?
Sure. I mean, just like, I'm no financial advisor,
Yeah,
but a lot of
yeah,
times what you hear financial advisor is what is your end game? Like, what is the purpose of you investing? So that's definitely would be like a top question. But also, like you said, you can invest fractionally, just like you do with stocks and Bitcoin. I think it just keeps coming down to like adoption, like people actually understanding how it works, and as much they need to know how it works when they first start investing. So I think it's like that educational piece that's still coming to the forefront, and something I'm actually interested in being a part of. I'm in talks with, like, maybe working with some of the big exchanges to intern or whatever the case may do, the apprenticeship. But I think that's a big part of it, like that education piece, so that people can ultimately like feel trusted about that decision, but more so not be confused about it, like what it
yeah.
actually is. And I'm still learning myself.
Of
We always
course.
going. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think everybody's still trying to understand it, trying to learn it. Um,
Another addition to that too, I think when it comes to when you look at Bitcoin as a store of value and a means of exchange, with the fluctuation, it's like, well, how do you ever really measure its value? From today, it could be this price, tomorrow it could drop $2,000 or go up five. So it's like, how do you actually use this as a means of exchange for business? I think about with my cleaning business in Baltimore, it's like, I do plan to adopt crypto, and one of those things is, if I want to pay my employees, now they have stable coins, of course, but like if I want to pay my employees on Bitcoin or something like that, how do I like measure today's worth with what I'm gonna pay them, and vice versa?
for sure, that risk, right? Like, I'll give you X amount today, but tomorrow, unfortunately, it may drop or not. And I think you're right. I just think there's too much inflows and outflows, and it's, time will tell how this thing will pan out in terms of it being a little bit more stable to you know, transact, purely in Bitcoin. But you also bring up a good point in stable coins. So I know you were kind of like dabbling into that. What are your thoughts on the stable coin, I guess, since we're talking about Bitcoin's volatility? Do you like kind of the stable coin at a high level? You like, what it's trying to do for individuals to either get paid in it or keep it, or, keep their money outside of traditional banking? Does
So
it
I
make
think I
sense?
think it's I think it's actually interesting because there was a article I was reading. I'm paraphrasing it, but it pretty much was saying like cryptocurrency is um, digitally creating value for every asset or every commodity out in the world. And I was like, wow, like that's such a simple way of putting it. And it's one of those things where you can trade and have Bitcoin or whatever crypto in your wallet immediately, and that is huge. Like we're moving faster and faster days. We don't have 2 to 3 business days to wait, and so it's just one of those things where, um, yeah, I think that's a very good benefit moving forward.
And sorry, are you running your own business right now, or you brought up another a business that you were talking about earlier? Like,
So
talk to me about
in
that.
Baltimore, Maryland, January 2020 of this year, before I even knew about COVID and things like that, I started a eco-friendly cleaning company, because a part of going back to school and finishing what I started, I wanted to set a good example for my daughter, and also have something that she can be proud of and I could pass on to her. So initially, we started with helping moms who need help around the house, moms, professional women. Um, we help moms who need recurring help throughout the week, throughout the month. And a part of making sure that we put into the universe, into the world, eco-friendly products because it's healthier literally for you and your family and your home. We are now in the process of establishing ourselves to do business with the state of Maryland and the federal government over the long term. So yeah, I definitely think about adding Bitcoin and cryptocurrency into our business model, as well as being able to provide alternative investment streams for our uh, pro cleaners. So that's something that's top of mind, and it's an everyday take our time. But yeah, it's that's just who I am. So I
Yeah.
would put that into what we do.
No, I think that's great, and that's important. We have a lot of viewers right now that are tuning in from all over the world, and various. The conference is set up for beginners, novice, experts. We're talking a wide range of students that understand crypto, that don't understand crypto, and I don't think I've talked to anybody that's yet outside. Up until now, with you setting a great example of like having a family, also going to school, understanding like emerging technology, and not only that, kicking off a business during like this crazy wild ride year. But it's and you guys are doing pretty well, like surviving 2020.
Yeah, we're here. We're alive. We woke up this morning. We have food on our table. We have clothes on our back. We have a roof over our heads. So I'm very grateful. And every day, it's funny. My nana's 91. She actually went to Morgan State. They actually were business owners. Her and my pop. They owned Ivy Leaf School in Philadelphia for 43 years. African American private school, one of the longest running in the country at one point. And she says, like, her and her younger sister Geneva, people would always ask, like, how do y'all do so many things? And it's just like a part of our nature. It's a part of our family. And so this is all I know. And at the end of the day, the more I become, the more I can give back. And so I know, with the clean space for you and with everything that we're doing, I don't know it all. And I'm constantly seeking to be mentored and look for people who can just navigate the mission that we believe in with making this world a better place at the end of the day and making sure that people have fair opportunities.
And who are some of the people you look up to? It seems like you have some personal family members. Who gives you like this inspiration and motivation to drive, this drive to do it all, like multitask, like be ahead of the game, like understand it's a cruel world out there, and like
Hmm.
you got to pave your own path, right? Like where did all this come from? And it looks like you touched on a little bit with your grandparents.
Sure. My papa, may the Most High rest his soul. He's watching over us. He's proud of us. My nana, she's almost 91. Oh my goodness, her mind is so sharp. Okay. Even her great grandfather, he literally purchased his freedom, and he found a man who would let him cut down trees and turn it into coal. He started his own coal business, and he brought one of the first automobiles in his area down south. And so, like, it's in my blood, literally. And it's even a bigger calling that every day I'm realizing. And it's like it's bigger than me. It's like I've always been a child that feels heavily, and I thought that was wrong. I thought something was wrong with me, but every day I'm accepting like my true calling. I'm here for something so much bigger than me. And so I'm just in this space of like I need to surround myself around people that are, you know, well ahead in their expertise so that I can learn from them and grow with them and give back. So like every day it's not always easy, but like I just know I'm here for a bigger purpose. I don't always know the answers to all the steps. I just know I'm here for bigger purpose. And my daughter, my husband, like his daughter, my bonus daughter, like they make me want to go harder. Seeing people struggle and unhappy is like we can all win in this life. You know, there will be people who have more, who have less, but we can all have a quality lifestyle. And so that's what I'm passionate about.
And I think it's very important to note kind of the mindset that you have, very understanding of your surroundings, how crazy life can be, but it's important to definitely stay focused, find some inspiration, right? Like lean on some people, and ask for help at times, right? I think there's students right now that are trying to, what would you say to like a lot of these students that are tuning in that are trying to understand like their way? It seems like you had a rich history from family, understanding business, and now here you are kind of transcending your own life, for your daughter, for your family. What do you say to like some of these students right now that are like trying to maybe waiting for it to come to them per se, or I don't know, kind of get a feeling, but what would you say for them to kind of push forward?
Well, I would say I don't have it figured out. I'm not perfect. Just a couple years ago, I was depressed at my rock bottom, crying myself to sleep, going through heartbreak, all that. So I'm human too. It's one of those things. It's just like it was when I started realizing like what kind of life do I want to have. Like my daughter has become my why. What is your why? Like what's the reason why you get up? Like you get to choose. Like you get to choose. You really do. And it may not always feel like it in the moment. And shoot, I'm talking to myself when I say this. It may not always feel like in the moment, but like every single decision you make, it doesn't always have to be right. But you just have to know why you did it, why you're doing it,
Exactly.
and always just search deeper than what's at the root. Because when we all came into this world, we were pure love, we were pure innocence, and that is our natural state. And so just try to every day get to that state of your pureness, of your trueness, of your authenticity, and you have something to give to the world. So it doesn't matter what anybody else says, even the people closest to you. Everybody's just operating from their experience. And for me, it's crazy in the world. Some people have their own biases. Even I have biases. We all do. That's what my mentor helped me see. We all have prejudices. But like I know I'm not here to try to change nobody's mind. If somebody's brought up to hate me and judge me and think less of me, I'm not here to change your mind. I'm here to be the best I can be and help inspire everybody else. And that's what I can do. That's what's in my power. And um everybody has power within them. You just have to know that you have it and walk in that. And it takes time sometimes to realize and develop that, and that's okay.
Yeah, and I'm happy you brought up some of those personal points, right? Of like the lows, and can you get even lower? Yeah, you can. You just gotta remember that, what goes down, like you gotta make sure it comes back up. And from what I'm understanding, you have purpose, right? You have purpose to kind of continue on and fight for it. How nervous were you when you kicked off this business at the beginning of the year?
It didn't hit me until like 3 or 6, like 3 months in at least. It was just like I gave birth 6 weeks. I gave birth 6 weeks after I went back to school part-time online, and I started business. And I'm like, what kind of mad woman am I? But it just goes to show like that's just who I am. Like I don't like sitting still. I don't, which is something it's a dance. I'm learning to balance that too. Sometimes sitting still is necessary. But yeah, it was just one of those things like it was just one of those things. So when me and my now husband 2 years ago, we made the decision that, okay, we are no longer going to keep going back and forth with whether or not we're going to work for corporate America or be self-employed. And when I say work for corporate America, I'm actually looking to get into a position that I can learn um, about business and finance more, help people, but also contribute to a clean space for you. So there's nothing wrong with corporate America. It's just for us. I didn't want to do it just for the money. Now it's
Yeah.
more like I want to learn and I want to be able to
Yeah,
get paid while I'm doing it. So
for
that was
sure.
we literally made a decision to sever ties. And so we literally like drove Uber and Lyft for 2 years. And so now we're like, okay, it's time to make that decision. And we're actually following Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant. I can't even talk because I get excited about these
Yeah.
kind of conversations. A book that my dad introduced us to young, Robert Kiyosaki, my dad and my mom. And so he talks about the cash flow quadrant: employee, then you go to self-employed, business, and then investor. So now we literally made the decision, like in the last year, top of this year, like it's time to make that shift to business owner. So for us, neither of us have ever been there where our business supported the type of lifestyle we want to live, owning multiple properties, giving back, traveling, serial entrepreneur. And so that's the part that it's like, one is mindset, spiritual, emotional. So really having to transcend above those things and really become a person I've never been. And so that's really the hardest part, because like I can get things done.
Yeah.
Like I have no problem getting things done. It's literally like you're becoming a version of you you've never become. And so that's why I'm like, okay, just keep surrounding yourself in positive environments, keep surrounding yourself around people who are professional in their expertise. They have years of experience, they're great at what they do, and like just take it day by day. And here we are.
And I asked that because there's people that are probably in the same position, right? Like, what am I going to do? It's not going to just happen. Like you said, you're going to have all these thoughts, like doubts, and this is what you want to do, but a little bit scared, hesitant.
Sure.
I'm comfortable doing this. Am I going to be part of, as like you said, an employee? And definitely has its pros and cons. Obviously, you're learning. You have a consistent income, and like that's that. And
Yeah.
it seems like if that's not you, and these entrepreneurs want to take that leap of faith, like it's not going to come easy. But I think, like in your case, you've had it built in you, right, to kind of get things done and like achieve, and always be busy and always learning. And I think those fundamentals like obviously help if you're in doubt, that you can rely on who you are as a character and like your traits and
Hmm.
personality,
Hmm.
right, and your skill set. And I've noticed that in entrepreneurs where like they may have done various startups or just different companies, little things, big things. And some of them I've noticed were a little bit different, but I've the business was different. It's like, how did you like, why did you start this and start this? But it's the person, right? It's like, I've learned so much that I can adapt, I can evolve, and like I count on my skills to get me through. And it seems like that's what you did. Like you had a plan in place. And for these students watching that might have a plan, like I've heard in trading, like plan the trade and trade the plan, like stay focused and try not to deviate too much. Obviously you're going to have to adapt a little bit, but for those that wanting to take a leap, like not everybody, it's not just a switch. It's kind of like you build up to it and then just know that things can happen and change, but that you personally are found, grounded and understand who you are to kind of be better prepared for risk and like volatility, like in general, emotional, spiritual, physical, right?
Sure, sure. And it's one of those things, like it's so many sayings out here, like I'll sleep when I die, or like it's just so many things where it's like you literally like have to find your pace. And that changes. That changes. Like as a new mom, like as a wife, as a business owner, going back to school part-time, like being a part of amazing opportunities and organizations like this. And it's just like my pace is changing, and I'm having to make decisions differently, and look at the reality of, I do have a big vision, and big goals. And sometimes that means, okay, I need to have more consistent income to be able to fund those things and, have mentorship and things. So it's like, it's just constantly really personal self-assessment has like gotten me through so much. If I
Yeah.
could say one thing, like, and it doesn't have to be this way, but like, however you need to express yourself creatively, for me, that's been journaling. Like when I just sit, even I'll video myself and just talk. Like I'll ask myself questions because you can unstuck yourself. Like you can somebody else, and maybe drawing, and maybe it may be singing, whatever the case may be. But however you need to express yourself to get to your true self, because that's where the answers are.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think a lot of times, I still do it sometimes too. We get so caught up in I need to make money or this 3D world, but it's like we are a spiritual essence at its core. So it's like we have to always remember that and return to that. And I think adopting that too throughout the world, we can solve a lot of issues. Because like I said, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Even on the news, what if we implemented first thing in the morning an hour of meditation? Imagine what could happen to our world. Like, it's not this grand master over the world, it's individuals making these decisions. So it's like I can't control that to an extent, but I can control my environment, I can control my attitude. So just focus on what you can control, and constantly, like, you have to constantly be aware of the world, but at the same time, like, your peace of mind is everything.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think writing definitely helps. I'm not the best writer, but what ended up happening was a little bit of that. Just started writing, getting it off and thinking about it helps you kind of reflect a little bit more and just finding that outlet, right? Because I can't imagine, right? I mean, you have children, you have a family, school, business, pandemic. I mean, you better find some zen, right?
Sure. Shoot, I just finished crying earlier today. Even if you just need to cry, because
Yeah.
it's a lot. And but at the end of the day, it's like it's a lot, but you know why you choose what you choose in your life. And when you start looking at your life and you're not sure what's in your life and why you chose it, that's when you need to really be intentional about what's going on, because
Yep.
you get to choose what's in your life. Now, granted, there are things that happen that we didn't choose. I get that part. We got to make peace with that, and in whatever way feels comfortable to you in your own timing, but you have to heal from that. But at the same time, it's like you have to choose what you want in your life and what you want to attract. And sometimes that means looking at ourselves. If you're attracting something that you don't want, why did you attract that?
Yeah.
And if you don't want to attract that again, what did you do to attract that? And what can you do differently? And not from beating yourself up, just third party observing. That
Yeah.
really has gotten me through a lot.
And I think it needs to be expressed that this is just part of like being healthy, right? Like it's not just
Hmm.
dieting and stuff. Like health comes from mental health and
Hmm.
physical health and emotional health and understanding your surroundings, and like you're not alone for one. There's many people similar situations and going through it, and reflecting on where you're at, what your status is, whether you're in school, working, whatever. And it seems like obviously you have a good head on your shoulders. It's probably the best conversation I've had, during all these conferences. So I appreciate you joining us to share.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Yeah,
Um,
like, yeah.
oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay. You were about to say something.
Yeah, no. It's great. I think other students need to hear this, and people are stuck at home right now and trying to figure out what to do next. And maybe some think there is nothing next, but there is,
Mm,
right? And
sure.
you're a great example of it. Like through all of these um, recessions and depressions and kind of uncertain times traditionally in the past, a lot of the company, I forget the list, but the Ubers, the Snapchats, the Googles, like a lot of these companies came out of hard times, and
Yeah.
everybody thinks like it just needs to be perfect. No, you just need to stick to your plan and like execute. And like I said, there's a list out there. I forget the exact list, but those are some of the names that came out of shitty times,
Mm,
depressions, recessions, whatever it is. And it just goes to show like it doesn't really matter. You just work hard, and your hard work will dictate your future. And so here you are joining our conference now, the Reimagine 2020 series from Morgan State. And to pull it back into crypto, you just joined the Binance trading competition. What was that like? What made you decide to join that competition? And do you trade?
So first off, shout out to Catherine Cooley at Binance.us. She is super awesome. Love her story. Love what she stands for. Um, and shout out to Graham and Judith, who also helped us get situated with Binance.us and everyone at Morgan that facilitated that. So yeah, it was really cool because like I was sharing with you, I was interested and had traded, had brought some Bitcoin before, and so when I saw that, I was just like, oh, like this is really awesome, something to be a part of, and that's another thing. Sometimes just like you may not know what you want to do, but just say yes to opportunities that you're interested in. You never know where it could take you, and so it was several calls that we had where we kind of just talked about different things out in the market. And just getting a better understanding of what this competition will look like. And so, to be quite honest, there were obviously other people more knowledgeable about trading, things like that. For me, a lot of my holdings were in Bitcoin, which took my portfolio up to I had by the end of the competition, I had about a 25% return. So I think that's a win. But altogether as students, we had about a 14% return. I pretty much was kind of like in my own way, dollar cost average in Bitcoin. But yeah, it was just one of those things like it was cool to be a part of, and cool to learn more about what I didn't know before, and just say yes to opportunity. And yeah, I had a good
Were you
time.
part of bringing this competition to the school, or you just happen to be a participant?
A participant, yeah, they sent like a blast email out. Yeah.
And
Yep.
what was the sentiment amongst the community? Like, not in detail, but did you have some friends join? Were people asking you? Were you trying to include others to like join this competition? What was the feel of of Binance coming to town? Not only that, but just in general, like trading. Not only that, you're trading crypto. Like, what was the
Sure.
vibes?
So first off, like pretty much a lot of the students were super excited, and they're like, "Are we gonna like what happens after? Are we gonna still meet and stuff like that?" I had
Great.
mentioned the competition in one of my human resources classes. I had one of my classmates like reach out, and I sent them the email about how to join and things like that. So yeah, people were really excited about it. A lot of people, not a lot of people, but some of the people that did ask did trade stock options before. So there were people coming in from that arena as well. And just for, Morgan State to present this opportunity to students is really awesome to know that they're staying ahead of the trend and being a part of that.
And I know you're part time at school, so like, what are you looking to see moving forward? You look. Are there any clubs? Are there active clubs like either it's crypto, blockchain, or Bitcoin? Is there a lot of activity going on campus?
To be honest, well, we know it's not much activity going on at any
Yeah.
campus, but to be quite honest, and I've kind of always been this way, so my answer is very biased, may not be the best answer you're looking for, but I've always been like that adult working student. I never wanted to go to college in the first place. At this point, it's like I want to finish what I started, and so there's so many opportunities, and I'm glad I came back. There's so many opportunities out there that Morgan is presenting. But I've never really cared to go to college to start with. I just got to be transparent with you.
Yeah, no, awesome. I mean, it seems like you're hands-on individual and like, doing your own thing, paving your own path. No, that's great. And so, yeah, I mean, it seems like you finished in the top 10, which is cool. Seems like there's a lot of, crypto activity going on a little bit. And I think it starts with education, right? Like getting your hands on it, like understanding it. I'm sure you've done a little bit more research during, the competition as well to, better yourself, from an understanding point of what Bitcoin does and all the above, and what else is like coming out outside of crypto, like what other
Like Fed
alternative.
now,
What's
the
that?
Federal Reserve crypto, and just how like the pretty much like the race to Apollo now is like the race to which country is going to get the first crypto for their currency. So it's really cool to learn about those things. And for me, I would say like I take a more fundamental approach with what's going on in the world and things like that. It was interesting to see that there wasn't like a sharp decline during Bitcoin during the presidential election, and like, so it was just interesting to see how things kind of operated outside of the traditional financial world.
Yeah. No, you're right. Especially with the election going on, Bitcoin riding, shortly after tax season, I think is, middle of October is when it started picking up, and then, which is not that long ago, and it's just, gone crazy. And I think, there's a bright future for Bitcoin in general, and we'll see how it plays out, coming into the new year. Hopefully, you and I have experienced that drop. So we're coming around that range in December, right? Like December 2020. I hope it's not like 2017.
Sure, but are you in it for the long haul? You got your money on Bitcoin for the long haul?
Yeah, definitely. Long term, right? Long term investment. I'm a hodler, which is kind of the theme of this Reimagine series is happy hodl days. But no, yeah, definitely, long term vision, and what we do, we invest in early stage startups and teams, and we work with universities globally, especially here in the U.S. Morgan State's part of our university program, but we just try to support, students in clubs via office hours, mentorships. We used to sponsor like a lot of the meetups and hackathons and events with pizzas and beers, or I shouldn't say beer, but if they're over 21, but yeah, just kind of supporting them.
ID, please. Yeah.
Yeah. Like give them an outlet and, invest in, like you just asked me, investing in Bitcoin while we're investing in the future workforce of developers, entrepreneurs, and founders. And that's kind of at the grassroots level, why we work closely with that and professors to just let them know that there are, bridging the gap from academia, to industry. And that's kind of where we lie. But, I think we're coming up on time here. So go ahead and conclude this. I think let's give a shout out to your company. Give us the name of your company and where can people find you for your services, I guess.
Sure. So, hey world, it's Christina Coleman, and the eco-friendly cleaning services for hire that started just 6 weeks after giving birth to my baby girl, Nature J, is called A Clean Space for You, and you can find us at acleanspaceforyou.com. Feel free to give us a call for any custom cleaning needs, residential, commercial, at 301-327-3165. My way of things is I'd like to first understand what your actual needs are, and make sure that we can be the ones to best match your cleaning needs. And we look forward to serving with you and speaking with you. And if you know anyone who's looking to work with a great company as a pro cleaner, and even anyone who wants to mentor and even possibly invest, 301-327-3165.
Awesome.
I am a sponge, and I want to keep learning and growing and ultimately be able to provide opportunities for more people.
Great. No, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. I mean, I didn't realize the depth that this conversation would have gone, right? It's a blockchain conference, but ultimately the individuals that we speak with, that's what we're trying to bring out and have our audience understand. It's not just about the technology, it's about the individuals behind it, the impact, the movement, the various understandings of how our world is changing ultimately. And you're working your way through, and so applaud you for that. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us. We're definitely going to have you back. We've been doing this every month, so we're definitely going to have you back and continue discussion. So we'll go ahead and close this out. But Christina, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Adam. This has been great. I'm so honored. Thank you.
All right. For all of you tuning in to Reimagine 2020, this is the HODL Day edition. Pleasure to be speaking with Christina Coleman from Morgan State. Great discussion around life, around technology, trials and tribulations, how we get through it. And feel free to catch this on the Reimagine 2020 YouTube channel as well. And again, thank you, Christina, for joining us, and we hope to have you back.
Thank you, Adam. I would love to come back.